Good morning to all of you. It's wonderful to share this moment with so many friends and supporters of the work of the International Potato Center. We are all fans of potato and sweet potato here. And I would like to refer back to some of the statements already made by the different speakers this morning to stress the importance of the work of the International Potato Center. Actually, it is estimated that our friendship with potato in particular started about 8,000 years ago when potato domestication began in the Andes. And since then, this crop has been cultivated over there, providing a reliable source of food in the highlands for the subsequent thousands of years. This has been possible thanks to the work of farmers' knowledge and efforts. Actually, we can call them farmer scientists if we want, because then, as they are now, the true potato guardians, or using the Quechua word, papa arariguas. On sweet potato, a similar process may have occurred along Central and South America, so we have to thank the effort of the farmers who are still cultivating a number of varieties of sweet potato in South America. While potato arariguas have tended our namesake tuber for thousands of years, CIP has been supporting this effort for the last 45 years. In Potato Center Biodiversity, still these 45 years of uninterrupted and very productive research have been for the benefit of Peru, Latin America, and the entire world. And the example of Africa is one that we are highlighting now. Our work began with a focus on genetic resources conservation and has continued over the years, ensuring the conservation of more than 19,000 types of potato, sweet potato, and Andean root and tuber crops, which otherwise may have been lost due to changes to rural areas. As you know, urbanization is moving, migration, violence, etc. Thanks to the contribution of many people, for example, the pioneering Peruvian scientist and potato specialist Carlos Ochoa, as mentioned by Dr. Wells, who started to collect and document the potato biodiversity in the Andes back in the 50s and 60s. Today, CIP is the custodian of a world-renowned biodiversity complex or gene bank. Our complex is a strategic priority for CIP and focuses on conserving and utilizing genetic resources for the future. More than a repository of materials, serves as a resource of traditional knowledge and works to find ways to work with farming communities to conserve their native varieties in their fields. And today, as mentioned already, we can say that we have sent back more than 7,000 items conserved in our gene bank back to the number of communities in the Andes for them to continue enjoying the benefits of the native potatoes. Today, the effort of CIP's Gene Bank, together with the work of our breeding team, has resulted in a number of CIP-related varieties being adopted in the case of potatoes in more than 1.2 million of hectares around the world. In Peru, we can say that potato varieties coming from CIP are planted in about a third of the area of Peru in terms of potato. And this one example is in particular a variety called Canchan, which is very popular and well known. But these and other varieties are examples of collaborative work, and this has been recognized several times. For example, collaboration between a number of partners has actually contributed to the release of these varieties. We are talking about INEA in particular, we are talking about Ministry of Agriculture, and many other public and private partners who have added value to farmers' lives through higher yields, market quality, resistance to diseases. And as mentioned about sweet potato, we can claim now that we are reaching more than 2 million households in Africa with orange varieties, thanks to the work of a large team of scientists, the breeders in particular. Two of these breeders are here, but I would like to refer to the rest of the team as well, in particular to Dr. Wolfgang Gruneberg, who came to CIP about 10 years ago to provide intellectual input into the breeding team and has resulted in speeding up the breeding effort at CIP. So Wolfgang is an integral part of this effort. Varieties are one of CIP's research products, but we are also developing pest, seed, crop management technologies to help farmers realize the potential of their crops. And our social sciences team has also been an integral part of this effort, helping us to prioritize, target, integrate the views of users through participatory research, including gender aspects, as mentioned by Dr. Thiel, value change interventions, helping farmers to access markets is part of our work as well. So we have now potatoes and sweet potato programs focusing on Africa, Asia, and Latin America. Our work has put potato and sweet potato as key crops to face the current challenges established in the Millennium Development Goals first, now stressed and expanded by the Sustainable Development Goals. We firmly believe that these crops can contribute to reduce poverty, malnutrition, increased income, food security, support sustainable intensification and diversification of food systems, and in particular, adaptation to climate change. Supporting the adaptation of food systems to future uncertainties is essential, and we are looking at how potato and sweet potato-based systems can be better adapted to climate change. We have a research program looking at this topic in order to generate evidence to support decision-making of a range of stakeholders like governments, NGOs, policymakers, the private sector, the farmers themselves. Biodiversity can be an essential part of adaptation to climate change. So part of our work actually entails facilitating farmers' access to markets with biodiverse products. As I mentioned already, that has resulted in a number of native potato varieties present in the markets at the moment being consumed in restaurants and processed products in Peru and other Andean countries. Science needs to have a strong and long-term horizon also. Therefore, another of our research programs is looking at the future and generating game-changing solutions to utilize the advance in science to generate the varieties and technologies that we will need in the future as earthworm, and because of climate change, we will need different types of varieties. For example, those potato or sweet potato varieties with durable resistance to diseases or with more tolerance to heat or drought. Today, we recognize our colleagues, World Food Prize laureates, for their outstanding contribution towards reducing malnutrition in Africa. I'm proud to be your colleague. And looking back in history, CIP has been recognized several times in the past for their scientific or the scientific achievements of our scientists. For example, just a few names or examples here. 1992, CIP received the King Baldwin Award for the CGIAR for its scientific achievement on genetic resistance to insects. That same year, our former Director General back then, Dr. Sanstra, received the Grand Cruz Award for CIP's contribution to scientific research and development in Peru. More recently, last year, one of our scientists received the distinction Santiago Antunes de Mayolo here in Peru for his contribution to scientific research. Hence, CIP has a history of science achievements, and generations of researchers have traveled and worked in more than 20 countries with a number of partners in South America, Africa, and Asia. The World Food Prize for our colleagues comes just on time to celebrate our 45th anniversary, so to renew our spirit to innovation. However, ahead we have much more serious challenges. How to feed a growing population with shrinking resources, less land, less water, and under the threats of climate change that places greater responsibility on the shoulders of agricultural research organizations. We are the types of organizations that can produce or help to produce more food for humanity. And CIP and our sister centers, the other CGIAR centers, we know that we cannot shoulder this alone. The challenges are too great and the risks are too large. We still look to partner with those of you in the audience. Today, from governments around the world to civil society, to universities and the private sector and farmer organizations, We could not have survived all these 45 years without you. And countless farmers and communities are counting on us to work together to improve food security, nutrition. I know that we can do this, and I hope you will join us in facing this challenge. As a Peruvian, actually born up in the highlands of Cajamarca, I am extremely honored to work at CIP and to lead this science team. For several of us, the meaning of CIP goes beyond the professional and scientific aspect and involves a deeply personal meaning. Actually, I met my wife 20 years ago when she was testing new potatoes, and I was part of the testing panel. So, deep personal meaning indeed for me. All of Peru should be proud of what CIP, the Ministry of Agriculture, INEA, and other public and private partners have achieved here in Peru. As a citizen of the world and a member of the greater science communities, I am very thankful for the numerous donors and partners who support CIP's work to improve food security and nutrition through roots and tuber crops. I would like to thank Dr. Barbara Wells for hosting this celebration, to Ms. Nen Annan for her advocacy for CIP's work. Thank you very much for your support, and particularly to promote the power of orange sweet potato in Ghana. And finally, let me thank Mrs. Sol Carreño for being here today and helping us with this celebration. Thank you very much.